Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for, yes, the date today is April 12th, 1 week away from WrestleMania Night 1. I am the Cash Man, your humble host. Be joined by other guys in just a minute here. Let's see. To holidays today, there are quite a few. We've got Big Win Day, which, if you're from the Rochester area, maybe you've had quite a lot of big win recently. Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. International Day of Human Spaceflight, Russian Cosmonaut Day. It's National Licorice Day. Passover begins at sundown. Walk on Your Wild Side Day and National Goof Off Day. And that's what I attribute to the hour we have here. Welcome to the show. Like I said, I'm your humble host, the Cashman. I'm joined by Danger Boy. Danger from parts unknown, Gates, New York. How are you doing today, Danger?
Fighting a cold, but I got to meet Ryan Miller yesterday, so I'm in a good place.
Ryan Miller, famous Amerks goalie here, Rochester Americans, as well as Sabres, right? You
And Team USA and
Team USA actually, yeah, went to the championship in the play in the Olympics, I believe. I can't remember. Was it the Olympics? Yeah, I think it was. So,
mhm.
yeah, I saw that. I saw a picture of you getting the signed autograph. Did you have a cold then last night?
I did as well, but I was decent amount away from him.
Very cool. We're also joined by Rob Sanderson, formerly known as the Artiste, and I'll probably stop saying that soon because we call him Rob, not the Artiste, but he's joining us as well. Rob, how are you doing today, sir?
Uh, Good morning. I don't know. I feel old this morning,
Feel
but
old?
yeah, when you like tweak something in your back while you're sleeping, you know you're old. So,
Yeah,
no longer like a kid on this show, screening phones and stuff. Now it's yeah,
Now you're at the age where, well, I've been quite a while where you get injured in your sleep and you're not sure
yeah,
exactly how it happened. Yeah. Oh yeah. Or no, yeah. So sometimes it gets too cold while you're sleeping and your muscles tighten up and you don't know that. And sometimes that happens. Who knows? It could be anything. It could be like, I don't know. Maybe you had too much A1. No, no, no.
oh boy,
uh,
yeah,
I had to go there. Sorry. If you know, you know, and
yeah. If
don't
only
let
the
AI
country
tell
didn't
you
have to
anything.
go there.
Don't let AI tell you anything different. Okay. I will just give you guys a little update in Rochester, New York. There is a fog warning out right now.
oh,
Um,
it's foggy out.
yeah. It's amazing when you get this kind of fog. We are in. I've said it many times. This is the time of year where you don't know what you're going to get every day. It's either going to be 70 or you're going to get snow. And we
We need
had
a few more of those 70s.
I agree because we've had snow this past week, and it was like wake up to snow. It's like April, okay. But hey, we're here to talk about the world of pro wrestling, and now you know who we all are. And thank you for coming in and joining us. And don't worry, there's no AI involved in this or A1 either. So we are, we, except for we got sick
There
day.
could be.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I got a Cartman over my shoulder, so and you know about him is you got to respect his authority. So we're going to talk about. I got a few topics I want to go through today. Hopefully, we won't go too long when we go through them. I want to talk about this a-hole who was on Monday Night Raw this past week. Dynasty thoughts. Who do you guys think Randy Orton's going to get at WrestleMania? Collision we got tonight and this Thursday night, and as well as the Mania buildup. But why don't we jump right into it? And this is an interesting past week. Not only did we have, I mean, lots of pro wrestling and everything. We had Pat McAfee's incredible night out on Wednesday or whatever he called it, day out, which he had Jay Uso come out as well as Michael Cole with a bottle of Jack, drinking Jack while calling sumo wrestling. It's not something you don't see every day. To me, I would never pay to go see what they were doing, except for the fact that they were giving money away. Someone in like one
I
seat.
love that an Eagles fan. I hate the Eagles, and I don't like Eagles fans particularly. But the fact it was an Eagles fan in Pittsburgh that won the $2 million.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a couple of people who won 100,000, one up in the upper bowl, one on the floor. It was interesting. I mean, listen, I hate to say it, but I think Pat McAfee's wearing on me. It's starting to happen. I knew, it always happens. I mean, Jim Ross used to wear on me as well. So, but he's just wearing on me. Yes, I mean, I think when you try to divert the attention from the wrestler to the announcer, that's when I start to get a little, a little get tired of somebody. So, and he tends to do that. I mean, they make a big deal about him dancing on the tables to Jey Uso coming out and stuff. And, I mean, oh, we all love it. Woohoo. Yay. But I don't. So sorry. I've expressed my opinion. But that went on. We had on Monday Night Raw, obviously, that wonderful personality Tony Hinchcliffe was on and doing some commentary and kind of rousing up some fans in the build to WrestleMania, because he's doing the comedy show. Is it Friday night? I can't remember when it is. It's one.
I thought it was Sunday night.
Is it Sunday night? I know. I can't imagine it'd be the same time wrestling was going on, but
no, it was after.
Oh, so
it's a late night thing.
Yeah, because they're the West Coast and everything's going to be a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
Obviously. That's what they were promoting last night in SmackDown. It's like, come to SmackDown next week, and then you got 2 hours to get to the Hall of Fame, to the Hall of Fame. Only if you're like independently wealthy, you don't worry about money because you can just throw it everywhere, But they are Russell. This is the last week before WrestleMania, but man, I don't know. This dude didn't need to come on and take. I mean, listen, it's great to build up the New Day, but not taking shots at Big E, saying terrible things about him, on WWE TV. I got to think they were cringing when that was happening, the announcers. What'd you think, Danger?
I don't think they had good material. I don't think it was funny. I don't think it needed to happen. They definitely were cutting away from the match to show him. I understand you got to build up, this person to your fan base, but do it in a different way. Do it backstage. Like Bert Kreischer stuff was perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah.
He took off his shirt and belly bumped with Otis. That was, and then after the show gave a couple choke slams, but you don't need to divert as much attention away as you did for that to have it just. I mean, they know it bombed.
Yeah.
They know it wasn't good.
Yeah, and it wasn't like even broadcast to the people in the arena or anything, because I'm sure he would have got booed out of the place. But just saying, and listen, it's never funny when someone loses their career to an injury, and that's what we're seeing with Big E. And then just just saying some mean things about it. I don't know. It was. Rob, did you get a chance to hear any of that crap?
No, I saw a screenshot of him sitting at the table next to Pat McAfee, and I knew I wanted to see and hear absolutely anything on earth aside from that at that point, and didn't bother to go back and listen to any of it or anything like that. No, that's one of those two is enough for me to deal with both of them next to each other. No thanks. I don't understand the decision there, but then again, I kind of do if you look at certain aspects of WWE and management and who they like, who they're related to, all that kind of stuff.
I gotcha. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Something A1 again, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. But and I understand this is the week. This next week will be the weeks of let's pimp everything we possibly can pimp that's going on in Vegas. Danger. You have thoughts?
Oh yeah, no, they're just they got a week to get this thing, hyped up even more, and they've done inadvertently with some matches, but they've gotten some buzz behind some of the matches. So
yeah,
they got to keep that going.
I'm definitely more excited about some of the matches, to be honest with you. And then now the more, last week we talked a lot about the promo with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, and it's like,
you should have. It was an awesome time.
And I will tell you that there's never bad press in wrestling, because last night, we sent them home due to, disciplinary reasons or whatever, and then of course at the end of the night, Charlotte Flair comes out and jumps Tiffany Stratton. It's like, no, they're just building a matchup. I don't feel anything. They wouldn't have been able to say any of that personal stuff unless it was okayed, because then you would get a real brawl, I think, or maybe backstage at least one,
Oh, Charlotte was definitely rattled when she was out there about a few things. So
the crowd,
I think it was mostly the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd reaction rattled her big time. But
that surprises me, because she's been around for so long. She should know how to react to that stuff. She didn't just take it in stride like someone like Dominic does or anything like that. She physically let it get. You could see it get to her,
Oh yeah,
And
she
it
like
just,
stopped. She kind of like stuttered and whenever she stopped for a second because the crowd was like just so loud and against her. So
but they were probably not thrilled with it at the time and how it ended up. But the fact it's been in the news coverage for the entire week,
yeah.
they've got to love.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think so. I think that ride on it. I don't care. I just still don't care about. I don't care. I mean, maybe it's because it's not Charlotte Flair. There's been so much plastic surgery done, and it's someone completely different underneath there. And
Oh, there was. I saw someone put out a tweet at her about
the
plastic
little
surgery, and she
circle.
responded. And
Yeah.
she responded like, "What about your face?" He goes, "Well, at least it's my real face."
Yeah, there was a tweet she actually replied to. It was like one. It was like the circular pattern,
Yeah,
but gets divorced, gets a title, gets an unfair title shot. Has plastic surgery. Loses. I don't know. It was pretty funny. There's a lot going on. There's really a lot of hype building up for this. I mean, Vegas is the center of the world this week. You know, it's going to be because not only that, but you'll notice in our news, I went through and did all the Triller TV stuff that's going to be coming out of there, and it's like I'm guessing Rob Sanderson's roommate is going to be, or housemate's going to be involved in a lot of that, right, Rob?
Yeah, he flew out at like 4 a.m. this morning, so yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say,
it's a lot of wrestling there. Yeah.
and it's late night stuff too, so it's like.
No, it's all day. I mean, it starts by 11 a.m. every day, basically, and then there's shows that, I mean, if you're talking Pacific time, there's shows that don't even start till midnight, so 3 a.m. here. Like
yeah.
it's one of those. There's so much, and I mean, yeah, I don't know, like if you're a fan that's going to Vegas, like how much you can handle of all the WWE's been adding more stuff. There's all that stuff at the Collective. Then there's another venue that has a ton of shows, and then a bunch of indies are popping up doing random ones here and there and stuff. It's interesting though because like when I take a look at the like all the indie stuff, there's the ticket sales for indie shows this WrestleMania week seem to be weaker than they have been in recent years, and that's across the board. That's not like a just one company kind of thing. I'm not sure how the TNA show is selling, and obviously AEW and ROH aren't doing anything in that area this year, which is a good decision. But I really wonder if there is a correlation, not just because it's Vegas itself, and Vegas can obviously like in some aspects be expensive or not child friendly or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of excuses, that kind of stuff. But
Or
I
both.
wonder if there's just a lot of like indie wrestling fans that would normally consider going to a Mania week that aren't doing it this year because of the ticket prices. And then therefore they're also not doing any of these other WWE, TNA, GCW, anything else that's going on. That maybe that's has something to do with like it definitely doesn't seem like it's so far sold the same way that the last like few years have. So
Yeah, yeah. I
that's
mean,
my hunch, but
I found out a security guard friend of mine from the high school. He's going for one night. He's going for Saturday night. He's never been to a WrestleMania. He's flying to Vegas to go to Saturday night, and he's not staying for both nights. Which he may change his mind when he go down there. I mean, you might change your mind. But if I was going there, the Deading Company's playing in the Sphere this weekend and next weekend as well. I would try to find some way to work those two together, but I'm not going, even though I thought about it. That's for sure. But I don't know. I think it's a large, Reliant. Is it Reliant Stadium? Is that what they call it?
no.
No, it's not Reliant Stadium. What do they call the one in Vegas? Nevertheless, it's gigantic.
I
You know,
forgot, I forgot
it's
what they call it.
yeah, it's a huge stadium.
Alliant? No.
No, I thought it was Reliant.
Allegiant.
Allegiant. I knew it was something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Allegiant.
Reliant is Houston.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's a huge stadium, and man, there's a lot of bad seats in there, and I can imagine, it's not cheap.
It
You're
looks like a nice venue and everything. I don't know. And I think like for me, if that were something that I was going to, I would have a tough time being like, oh, I'm only going one night. Like if I'm traveling all the way there, I'm gonna want to go to 2 nights.
right. Oh
But
yeah, me too.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be curious to see like the actual data on how many like tickets are sold for like how many of the people are going to both nights or how many people are only there for one night in terms of like the ticket buyers. But I don't know.
Well,
It just it seems to me like it's just something that obviously it's not that they're hoping for a big week, with I wouldn't say walk ups. You don't necessarily just walk up to Las Vegas, but um, I don't know, maybe some people will. So
Well, I will tell you there, if you're in Rochester and you want to go, there are direct flights from Southwest to Vegas now. So you can fly there directly instead of having to stop at Chicago like I did when I went last year. But I will say that I can predict one thing. It'll be the highest grossing WrestleMania in the history of WWE. It'll be the highest grossing SmackDown the night before because they're doing SmackDown live on Friday. It'll be the highest grossing, that's we're gonna get that whole
well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be the biggest gate in the history of all WrestleMania 41s.
yes. That reminds me of what Dr. Love used to say. We are the number one show on this station in this time slot.
Yeah.
There we go. It's like, yes. But they raise the price every year, so they're bound to break it every year as well. It's just a lot of patting on the back they like to do. But they're deep into it now. I mean, they know what's going on. Last night they debuted on SmackDown the lineups for both nights. Which does go to show that Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble does not be the main event of WrestleMania this year because it's going to the three-way with Punk.
Well, and same for Charlotte, right? I mean,
Yeah, we're not getting any
oh,
Royal Rumble winners as the main event.
yeah.
Very interesting. I think that it's kind of a bummer because that was the guaranteed main event tool at one time in the WWE, and now.
And at that point, there was only one night, and you still got the main event.
Yeah. So
Now you can't get either one. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, we've got CM Punk in a supposed main event. Yeah.
There we go. Or the halfway main event, the halfway point main event. So yeah, we had
Not my main event.
we have a long discussion on this last week too. If you missed it, go back and listen to it. But yeah, we were talking about it's like CM Punk truly the main event would be Sunday night. That would be, but we can spin it any way we want. Like the highest grossing WrestleMania in the history of WrestleManias. It's like we can spin that any way we want. But we did get the lineup last. Like I'll go through it, but let's shift gears a little bit. We did start off talking about Tony Hinchcliffe and about coming on Monday Night Raw and I don't know, saying some terrible things about Big E and which he shouldn't have, and it's just to promote a show. But I want to focus a little bit on Dynasty last weekend. We sat and promoted a lot of it. Rob, I know you had a lot of expectations that didn't fulfill. We were hoping the belt was going to get taken off Mox. That did not happen.
Yeah.
What did you think of the whole show in general? I mean, the pre-show was awesome. I'll give you that.
Pre-show was awesome. Yeah, it was great to see the reaction that AR Fox was getting specifically. I think the pay-per-view itself started out strong, and then it got to be to a point where it felt like a string of matches that should have just been on Dynamite. And then, 8 days later, we're getting closer to the main event. And it picked up again toward the end, specifically with that Omega Speedball Ricochet match that was awesome. Though you could have cut that down on time. You didn't really need. I think they went 31 minutes, and this is match 400 of the night, and still more wrestling to go after that. So that was a little ridiculous, but yeah, I barely even remember the main event, just because I like Swerve a lot, but I think I just blocked it out of my memory. I don't know. It's I don't subscribe to you having to always give the people what they want. And I feel like that's very common, especially with pay-per-views and especially with AEW pay-per-views and stuff like that. But to go, I was probably I was annoyed with the finish of the pay-per-view.
Oh, the young Bucks
though
we didn't get to
yeah,
that
see,
point,
that's the thing.
yeah.
I would have been so much more annoyed with it if it had just been Death Riders and no Bucks coming out. At least there was that
Yeah.
all right, maybe we're gonna freshen things up a little bit. So I don't want to say I was optimistic, but it was okay-ish. And then we get to Dynamite, and I thought most of Dynamite was awful this week, and I don't understand the oh, here's the Bucks talking, but like they don't really have anything in the works with the Death Riders. They're not really on the same page. I don't know if this was
Yeah.
like a one-off or if it's going anywhere. Like,
Didn't they just like were taking shots, or didn't Kenny Omega come out in the middle of their promo?
oh, that
Like,
was terrible.
yeah, that was
Maybe yeah, like I wish by now, like the fact of the matter is Kenny's going to go down as one of the best in-ring wrestlers of all time, and there's not going to be one promo of his that's ever going to be remembered. Uh, he just doesn't need like his best stuff. Like there was a there's a big discussion this week on like who has been the best AEW World Champion, and like what the person who always comes to mind for me out of the nine candidates is Kenny Omega. I liked his title reign the best. A lot of that had to do with Don Callis, though.
yeah, he was
Um,
collecting belts too. Then remember he was like the belt
yeah,
collector. Yeah, and he showed up
and
on.
it benefited to have all this stuff with the TNA crossover and all of that. Like that certainly made things more interesting, or whatever. But him on the mic on Wednesday was just what are we doing? And to, I was especially annoyed too that like the pay-per-view was Sunday night into Monday, well, technically into Monday morning, um, which ended with Moxley and the Death Riders and all this stuff. And then how do we start out Dynamite a couple days later? Moxley's match is first. It's all this Death Rider stuff.
Yeah,
All of the Death Riders are having matches over what, three matches plus promos that night. They open the show, they close the show. Like that to me is the most tone deaf booking part of all of this is like, okay, you got away with finishing the pay-per-view with Moxley retaining and upsetting a lot of people. And again, part of me is like, it's almost refreshing to not send the crowd home happy at the end of the pay-per-view because sometimes that just becomes too predictable and whatever. But then you go into TV a couple nights later and it's just nonstop Death Riders, including like the last match Sunday and the first match Wednesday are both John Moxley. Like, are we trying to get to Roman Reigns territory of just shoving things down the fans' throats? Like, that to me is you could have still done something with the Death Riders on Wednesday, but the whole show felt like it was about them and it was not good.
I saw.
And that
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
they're doubling down. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
I saw a story about how none of the fans in attendance are follow are for are love the angle, but the ratings have been going up because of them being placed plastered all over. In fact, they had a spike this week, and then, so for some strange reason, the ratings are going up when you get a lot of Death Riders, but the people in the arena are hating it, and it's interesting because we'll see how far they go that. But I know Jim Ross came out recently thinking the Death Riders were the best thing on going on AEW, and it's like, they had another name a while ago, so it's like, and that's another beef I have with this week's show is why do we got to change the name of the Undisputed Kingdom into the Paragon? It's like. I don't. That's very TNA-ish. Back when TNA was like still grasping for like viewers. Let's make up
I think
another
that'll
name.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's an I don't like that there's like could we just maybe not have a name? I'd be fine with that, but I guess I kind of if you're truly going forward without the kingdom in the group, the Taven and Bennett, then I guess it makes sense to get rid of that part of the name. But just to we didn't need another name this soon.
I know. I'm like, okay, let's confuse the fact even more. I have an idea. Why don't you go back to the first name you were using, or before you merged the kingdom in. I don't know. Yeah, it was, but it's like
Well, what
that
were they in AEW? They were was it Undisputed Elite?
undisputed.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know, just be undisputed
yeah.
and call it a day, and then it shouldn't matter who comes and goes or whatever. But
They sold a lot of T-shirts with undisputed. That's for sure. So it was like, but yeah, that was like a beef I had. It's like like in like the Death Riders. There's pretty much the same group as the Blackpool Combat Club, except for Brian Danielson's not there, and but I don't, it's like but for some reason the ratings spiked when they were on TV. So I guess what do you book for? The crowd in the arena, or do you book for like what the national audience is going to do? You know, it puts and so I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of the Death Riders.
I get nervous about the thoughts of like Moxley not dropping the title until All In. I think he needs to drop it by Double or Nothing, if not sooner. He could drop it. Yeah, we got Collision tonight. Why doesn't he just drop it today? That'd be great.
It's a live one tonight too. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's did anything else strike you from Dynasty, Rob? I mean, the pay-per-view. I mean, there was some good stuff, obviously. Tony Storm. We talked a lot about that match last week as well as we were going down the lineup. Tony
Yeah, that match, I think they did a good job. Like the match itself was solid, and the finish helped protect Megan a little bit, and it seemed to work. I don't have any issues with that match. I don't know. At this point though, there's not too much that really like stands out to me all that much.
Well, Jericho dropping the Ring of Honor title and then like saying goodbye this week because he needs to straighten his head out or play with Fozzy on a tour or something like that. But him not probably being involved with Ring of Honor anymore if and when he comes back, but which is a good thing.
That is a good thing. Yeah.
It was good to get the belt off him too on someone who's going to be part of Ring of Honor too. So that was big. They had a lot of Owen Hart Cup matches going on. Yes, you could have saved those for TV. I don't ever, I definitely. I mean, I think that tournament most of the time does take place on TV, except for when you have a pay-per-view that's in the middle of it. So we did get a lot of that. We got the big turn on Cope by his tag partners. Which was interesting because it's, I thought, I think you called it last week that both of them were going to turn, and they did.
Yeah.
And take Cope out.
And they played it off well. I think that was a good turn because like people expected it from Dax. They didn't really expect it from Cash, but that definitely, I think that turned out well. And I guess that's the one thing you mentioned, Tony Storm, and as much as I did not like a lot of Dynamite this week, Tony Storm on commentary redeemed the whole thing. So if only we could, like, of all the different wrestlers they've tried as commentators on like B shows and stuff like that, like she's got to be in the mix for some consistent commentary because the stuff she gets away with saying is just absurd.
Yeah, and she also purposely mispronounces names and stuff like that, which is very funny most of the time. So I'll give her that. Yeah, I agree. And so Dynasty end, and now the next pay-per-view actually is it, what is it again? It's in a couple
Double or Nothing.
Yeah, Double or Nothing. That's right. It's in May.
Yeah. Memorial Day weekend in Phoenix.
That's right. So we got a while before the next one's set up, but I have a feeling we're going to get a steady dose of Death Riders on TV before then, just because until the numbers, I hate to say they book for the numbers, but man, why else would you book someone who's really not getting over with the fan base, whether booed or cheered, if they're rather indifferent at times,
if Swerve's not going to be the one to take the title, then I really hope we're making a correct decision on who is. And if that's Ospreay, that works for me. But that also means that it's not going to be until All In, which is still almost 3 months away at this point, or exactly 3 months from today. That's a long time. It's a long time to deal with more Death Riders and John Moxley and briefcases and all that.
Well, one thing I like they did this past week, or I enjoyed, was the MJF Hurt Syndicate. I don't know what it's going to turn into. I think is it going to make MJF a face when he finally gets turned down by them again every time, to the point where he's got to pick someone to tag with and take the belts off of them. And then who would that be, the person to tag with him? Maybe the guy he bumped into in the back, Adam, I don't know who it would be. I don't know. You couldn't do Adam Page. So I don't think, maybe you could. I don't know.
No, I think they're set up Adam Page to tag with Swerve against the Bucks eventually.
Yeah, that makes sense, you know, but you know, but I mean, what do you think about the Hurt Syndicate and MJF? I mean, obviously they kind of teased it a while ago and they just kind of like it went full blast at the pay-per-view when he came out to help them, you know, and then obviously this past Wednesday, we don't need your help or whatever, and left him in the ring, you know. But you know, MJ,
That's something I don't even want to really judge, I guess, until like we see where it's going. I don't like, do they have a plan for this? Like, because MJF is a character that like nobody should really want to team with. And I don't know. All right, he's maybe going to join. He's maybe going to join. Okay, he's not joining.
but
Okay, now
it could
what?
be a great
Like,
face turn for him. It could be a big face turn for him if he
I don't.
finally.
They just did all that. He was a face for like a year. I don't think he should be a face again for a long time, if at all.
It seems like it's
And that's being said too. Like the Hurt Syndicate aren't really true heels at this point. I mean, they get such a good reaction from the crowds that I don't know. I mean, the lines are blurred on all of that in wrestling these days, but I don't really know where they're going with all of this. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they know.
they've got to. I would think so. What do you think, Danger?
I mean, it's entertaining to watch for now, but yeah, I want to see where it plays out too. I want to see how it's gonna end up like with Sammy and the Bloodline, where freaking he just eventually gets his way in or something like that. Who knows where it ends up going? I didn't want to see how it plays out though, because I'm hoping they know what they're gonna end up doing with it, but you never really know.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, I would have thought that they would maybe like, you know, come out together for a while, but it seems like that probably won't ever happen. Just was at the moment at least. But you know, I mean, it was MVP who gave MJF the card, so you know, it was.
Sheldon Benjamin had great facial reactions to MJF standing next to him though, and just like that, what are you doing here type deal.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He looked, you know, but if it wasn't for MJF, well, MJF assisted them, we'll say, in the title win.
Yes.
So that's that being said, you know, so that was Dynasty, you know, Rob, overall, you know, not the worst, but not the best pay-per-view, would you say?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because this was I said last week on the show that like this was a rare instance where I actually was looking forward to the card of the AEW pay-per-view, like overall compared to other ones. And I don't think all of the matches delivered. The show was way too long. There were some really, really good aspects to the show and you know, like a couple of very good matches and stuff, but it's not one. I think at some point I'll go back and watch that triple threat match, but other than that, I don't think there's anything else I'm really going to remember from that show.
Very cool.
So, yeah, not past middle of the road in terms of ranking all of the AEW pay-per-views against each other.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's jump and talk a little bit about the last night on SmackDown. Randy Orton was out twice on the show, tag team in the end of the show, tag teamed with LA Knight. Yeah, and it was but we still don't know who Randy Orton's taking on at WrestleMania now that and Kevin Owens, if you hadn't heard, has a neck injury, is going to be out for at least a year, 9 months to a year. There was rumors he already had surgery, but I believe it hasn't happened yet. So I think that people were just making stuff up. But nevertheless, Randy Orton.
Somebody made an A1 photo of him in a hospital bed. Yeah.
The good old A1 steak sauce photo. Yeah. Thank you, Linda McMahon.
No, it was actually A1 from Team Canada, and TNA came to visit him in the hospital. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
There's an A1 sighting?
Yeah, we are going back in time. There was but Kevin Owens. So now Randy Orton doesn't have a WrestleMania. He did drop Nick Aldis on his head last week, and then he came out this week, and Nick Aldis brought him out this week, and he said, yeah, it wasn't anything personal against you. I was just making a statement or whatever. And it still hasn't gotten to the point where they haven't matched up with anybody yet for WrestleMania. Could be Solo, because does Solo have a match, Danger? I don't think Solo has.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Maybe he's like, but he was out there, obviously. He was at the end of the show, but I just don't, I mean, it would be great if, he had the GM take him on at WrestleMania. I think maybe they're waiting to surprise people the day of the show. I think because they always do that with like one or two matches. It'd be like surprise, this one wasn't on the list, you know, but they did put out the whole rundown, and he's not on it. But who do we Danger? Who do you think he's going to be wrestling?
At this point, I have no idea. I know that there was betting odds that was Aldis, but in the grand scheme of things, you would think they would build that up more. I know it's
He mentioned
throwing it
Mickey.
last minute.
He mentioned Mickey James last night. He mentioned, oh, your wife doesn't want you getting in the ring or whatever. Mickey James, and it was like, oh, it's gonna definitely be Aldis now, I think. Even though I didn't, unfortunately, last night I fell asleep during SmackDown because it's 3 hours. And by the way, it was a great Ray Phoenix match on the show as well yesterday, but I fell asleep. So I watched back this morning when I was doing my prep, and my DVR cut off at the very end of the last match. And I'm sure there was something that happened after. I don't know, but I don't think Nick Aldis got involved. I couldn't tell or not last night. So I don't know. I didn't get to see any highlights of that, but I don't, it's like Randy Orton. I mean, does he need a match? There's also odds that he's not going to have any match at all. But didn't they bring him out twice this week? He was out. I think he was out.
They're going to do something. He's going to do something on the show. It's it's unfortunate it's not Kevin, but at the same time, it's like, well, that was interesting. Sorry, the Masters. I mean, Lucky Neiman just stuffed a chip and then chipped in.
I'm watching it too. Yeah, I was watching. They kept showing the guys on the practice on the practice range there for a while.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing it, but I'm seeing it. So, yeah, no.
But,
yeah,
but there's the odds are all over the place, and they have Aleister Black on there, which would make no sense because one of them has to lose, and you don't want it's not a spot for Randy to lose.
I'm actually surprised Ray Phoenix was wrestling last night because it's the guy who just joined the company, and it's WrestleMania time. Is he really going to get anything at WrestleMania? It's like debuting a guy a week before or 2 weeks before the actual big event. A lot of times they used to hold people off for a long time. That's why I think Malachi Black or Aleister Black or whatever has not showed up yet. They had stopped.
That's why he hasn't shown up. Like it could be. I mean, it could be Rusev. Maybe Rusev drives a takedown and attacks Randy Orton. Who knows? I mean, he's apparently re-signed with the company, but I wouldn't want any of those guys in that spot because it's a spot where Randy should probably win.
So it's his 20th. It's his 20th WrestleMania. He said. That's what he came out and said last night. It's my 20th.
Yeah.
I want an opponent. And it's
the fact they're playing it up means something's going to happen.
True. So yeah, I think
they got to keep Randy. They got to keep Randy strong because I'm thinking that when they do, was it Backlash or whatever that's in St. Louis?
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's going to be him and John Cena as the headline. So
John Cena defending his belt the first time.
Yes,
that's everyone's thinking. Hey, Rob, you missed the beginning of the show, but you know who Danger got an autograph from yesterday?
I did see that. Yeah,
Ryan Miller.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I saw. Actually, there was a picture Danger posted where he's like, you can see him in the background as Ryan Miller's talking.
Yeah,
right?
we were on the party deck last night, and he was doing the speech right in front of us.
Was that coincidence that you guys got the party deck that night?
Yes, that was 100% coincidence, and then we found out a couple weeks ago that it was the Hall of Fame night, and it was awesome.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I do a derby show down in Cornhill, and I always I have to go by the exit on the inner loop where they all get off for the Amerks games. And it was like, it was all backed up. So there must have been a pretty good crowd there last night.
They opened the gates early. There was people lined up outside at 5:30 when I got there. All the doors were pushed out to the outside and like 10 people deep outside. And they actually, instead of just letting traffic go through like they do in the beginning, like that early before the game, they had everything blocked off completely, and I knew they had a big crowd.
Awesome. I went to a game like last week on a Wednesday. I think there was 1,000 people there. So
yeah, the Wednesday games are rough.
Yeah. It was. The funny thing is, I signed up to go through roller derby because we were doing it as a roller derby thing, and I've been getting contacted for season tickets ever since. So
yes.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, get the people who only come to 2 games a year and see if you can sell them season tickets. So, nevertheless, sorry, I want to get back to wrestling, but I did want to mention that. Yeah, I saw a picture. So you have a jersey of his that you got him to sign.
Yeah.
You're gonna put that in like a glass case and hang it up.
It will be, yes, eventually.
Yeah, and then your Thurman Thomas one there.
Thurman, Jim Kelly, Micah Hyde, Josh Allen.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You won that Josh Allen one, right?
No, I got that.
That's right for your wife for your engagement gift. All right. Let's already talk about real life there for a second, but so I've gotten to the point now where we've Rob, I didn't even ask you. Do you care who Randy Orton's taking on?
Not really. I mean, I will say like I watched two segments of SmackDown, one being the Orton thing, and like the fact that they mentioned Nick Aldis as a potential opponent, and then it kind of just immediately like the conversation just kept going elsewhere after that, made me think it's not him on that. But yeah, he has to have a match. I mean, there's no way he's not being left off of that show. And then
Make
the
it the
other thing I
hope.
saw was I was just
Make,
say the other thing I saw was Cody's promo, and like I don't know. It feels to me like that's your marquee, that's your actual main event of Mania, and not having Cena on these shows and stuff like it just that promo did absolutely nothing to make me interested in that match. Um, like you've got your challenger like not on TV a lot right now, going into Mania, and it just doesn't to me it doesn't have the same hype at all as like Cena and Roman or Cody and Roman and
yeah.
other things. So
Yeah, it's interesting is they were in Seattle last night, and they did mention the Seattle Indie up there when Cody was in his when he was
goodbye, yeah, like his like
yeah
first sentence that yeah, yeah,
yeah I was like shocked at that, but obviously AEW is very big and up there too, right around. I know that that's where so many of the wrestlers came from is that area. So,
mm,
but I was disappointed. I mean, obviously, he's going through and saying, and John Cena won't be here tonight to talk about this. And he's waiting until next week to do, before the SmackDown night before WrestleMania, night one. He's like, and so people booed him a little bit about that, but, yeah, I guess you have to have Cody out there, even, and I like that he had all the belts with him out there. He had he had all those, the belt that Bruno wore and stuff. So it was pretty cool to see some of those belts. But yeah, I've
I
still,
just hate looking at them and seeing the WWE logo on the old belts or whatever.
yeah,
Like those
Yeah.
clearly not real belts at that point. Like
we built them for props, and they'll probably be auctioned off eventually or put into the warehouse or whatever they do with them after it. But yeah, no, that's the only bad thing about them. But they did, it was nice to see him out there and everything. And they had to find some angle, and his angle was, I mean, Cody's angle always has been, I'm the, basically he's like the Rock, and I was going to say, and the Rock has not, been hiding or hair around, he's going to have something to do with WrestleMania. I keep hearing there's going to be a part he's going to be playing in this. So, but it probably will be the person who makes John Cena win it, obviously, or whatever. I still feel that John Cena is going to win that
no,
match. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, Rock 100% has to be involved. If he, it's one thing to not be on any of the on like any TV between the turn of Cena and Mania, but he has to be involved in Mania. Otherwise, there was no reason to have Cena turn heel with Rock. You
yeah,
could have
yeah.
just done it without Rock being a part of it. Like I don't, and so that probably means that Travis Scott will be involved somehow too.
Oh well, Travis Scott's name. I think yeah, they'll bring it. Brought him up on Monday about something, so he's definitely in the mix there. But yeah, so that's the Mania build up where we've gotten to. At least and last night we did get the lineups for both nights. Nothing shocking. More titles are being defended on the Saturday night show. I think that I'm trying to remember. I was looking at it and it was like I'm not surprised at which ones are going where, but if you're curious, folks, Saturday night you've got the War Raiders against the New Day for the titles. Rey Mysterio, El Grande Americano. That ought to be interesting. Jaden Cargill versus Naomi. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Gunther versus main event Jey Uso. And then the three-way is the main event. Punk with Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. And then on Sunday, you get Randy Orton versus to be announced. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and it's a Sin City something match. I can't remember. It's I think there'll be all the rules.
Did another street fight with the city name?
Yeah,
We
Sin
need
City
more of
Street
those.
Fight.
Yeah.
That's what it is. AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez versus the SmackDown Gauntlet winner from last night, which was last night was Bailey and Valkyria, I think her name is. Yeah, yeah. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Lots of trios going on Sunday for the WWE Women's World title. And then Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the Undisputed. So those are the lineups for both nights.
How messed up is it that El Grande Americano just made his debut a couple weeks ago and he gets a WrestleMania match over Chad Gable?
Yeah, what the heck? And I don't see Ray Phoenix or Penta on that list either,
Penta's in the four-way.
Oh, is he? That's right. I'm sorry, but
and Dominic's going to win.
They are doing the I think it's going to be on SmackDown next week. They are doing the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. I don't know if it's going to be on SmackDown. I know they're doing it. They definitely talked about they're going to be, so that everybody else is going to be in that. So, like every year. So they all get to play a part, which, I mean, good for them. They get the WrestleMania payday. They got all these appearances going on. It's going to be mayhem. I'm sure that if I'm a WWE superstar, this time of year is probably like, you have a manic schedule or you won't be sleeping most of the nights. And if you want to enjoy an after party, then you will get no sleep before you have to be back at work the next morning to do appearances and breakfasts and all sorts of things going on. A lot of corporate stuff going on too while they're
I know
there.
the NXT people weren't exactly happy that their show's at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah. Wow. That's their pay-per-view show on Saturday.
It's
going to be on before we're on the air, before we tape the show next Saturday.
No, it's Pacific time, not.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be like 1 here, but.
Oh, okay, we'll be done. So we'll be doing the pre-show for that next week as well as
yes.
the pre-show for WrestleMania. So it's going to be a busy show next week. I'm going to go through the news and get us out of here so we don't go like 2 hours, and because I'll save all the good stuff for and obviously we'll have the WrestleMania pre-show and everything, but I will go through the news now and get it out of the way. So tonight, if you're going to watch AEW Collision, it's live. It's from Springfield, Massachusetts, the Mass Mutual Center. You're going to see Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks in the Owen Hart Foundation's women's tournament quarterfinal matchup. We got Harley Cameron versus Athena in another one of the Owen Hart Foundation women's tournament quarterfinal match. Brody King versus Takeshita in the Owen Hart Foundation. It's all Owen Hart going on today, except for Anthony Bowens versus Blake Christian. And by the way, we didn't mention Anthony Bowens came out and beat his partner on the pre-show to Dynasty last weekend. And he looked great, by the way. So maybe
giving that away on the pre-show is a decision that I don't necessarily agree with, but also the match going like 40 seconds, that's something that everybody knew that Bowens was eventually going to be answering that open challenge, but that's what you decided to do with it. Does anybody care about them having a normal length match after the split and everything, or are we just moving on?
Yeah, but they're not letting him win anything with this challenge. He's lost every single person who's come out to challenge him. So pretty sure. I think, it's because he's the greatest wrestler in the world. But I think that was a little disappointing to make it go so short because they had 3 matches on the pre-show too. So it was, one of them had to be, I guess, shorter. That was got Megan Bain in action as well as FTR Speak. So maybe we'll get their perspective on why they hate Cope so much. Blame him for everything in their trio.
He changed his name to Cope.
Cope. He's Cope. And he can't cope with it. All right. So then we got some other news. And by the way, I don't have the lineup for Collision, but it's also going to be on Thursday night, 8:00 on TNT. So they're doing it because I don't know why. Maybe they don't want to, conflict with what's going on with Russ. Well, that's one thing that I've always noticed is they'll change their times so that if WrestleMania is going on, they don't want to get a 0 rating against something. So they are very, very low injuring their rating due to having big shows against them. So they usually move their show around. So they're going to be on Thursday night, 8:00. Definitely don't want to miss that. And then of course you get Wednesday Dynamite, you get Thursday, Collision this week. So and then of course this is the week, if you're going to take off and watch wrestling, this is the week to do it because you got so much coming at you every night of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday again, of course. So it's, so they're going to be on Thursday as well. But the Hall of Fame, which will be on Friday night after SmackDown this week, we got we've got the induction, the people who are inducting the honorees. So Triple H is going to be inducted by Shawn Michaels. It seems, logical. Punk will be inducting the Steve Austin Bret Hart first ever WWE Immortal Moment induction. They're talking about the match, the big match that's going in. Lex Luger is going to be inducted by Diamond Dallas Page. And he had previously hoped that DDP and Sting would be able to do it, but so far it's only Diamond Dallas Page. I know that there was a lot of stuff up in the air. People were asking Tony on a media call about if he was going to let Sting do it, and he never said anything about it. He said he would look into it, but it's so far no. But maybe that'll be a surprise. Michelle McCool is going to be inducted by her husband, The Undertaker. Okay. And the natural disasters have no inductors yet named to the list. But also they announced this past week that they have, it's kind of like the Legends inductions or whatever. They announced 3 people going in: Kamala, Dory Funk Sr., and Ivan Koloff. And all of their families will benefit from with Legends contracts for their likeness and stuff. So there are some money going to their families and stuff. But they're the legacy inductees in this year. So it's just good. Kamala, I mean, there's so many of these guys they could have put in while they were alive, like Ivan Koloff. I'm sure he would have been honored by it. He was just as a kid, he was like the first guy. He was the first bad heel that I was scared of, because he would freaking jump off the ropes with a guy's head in a push up against his knee and go into the mat with it. It's one of the most vicious moves I remember. Nobody's ever done that again. It's probably so dangerous to do something like that. But these guys, so they'll be going in. Hopefully they'll get some time on the induction ceremony. A lot of things changed on Friday night with with WrestleMania 41, but Valkyria and Bayley defeated Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Maxine Dupree, Natalia, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance. BFAB and Meechin, and because I have Valkyria in my fantasy league, I'm super excited to see how many points I get for all that, as well as Piper Niven and Alba Fry, all in one night to earn a shot at the reigning WWE Women's Tag Champs Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on the grandest stage of them all. So we're going to get that. That ought to be interesting, as well as Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre Sin City Street Fight. That's what I meant to say. We saw the ratings this week. WWE, they actually had some numbers from Netflix from their March 31st episode, 2.9 million globally, which is obviously fantastic. Unfortunately, they had 3.0 million globally the week before. So it's definitely been a good move for them for the audience size. It's probably closer to really what people were watching, even when they didn't have those numbers, when USA would post them. I think it's because people could watch reruns, or they could watch taped versions of the shows as well. So but AEW Dynamite had a big boost from the week before, and that's like we talked about that earlier in the show, how we think that they think that has to do with the Death Riders. We'll see. WWE's Damian Priest is going to host a concert event by one of his favorite bands. That's right. Saturday, September 20th. He'll be hosting at Hershey Park Stadium, Slayer. It's like, okay, it makes sense. I mean, I guess the guy, Kerry King from Slayer, is the one who plays his guitar on his theme. So, but he's kind of excited about that. I don't need to talk about Secretary of Education Linda McMahon screwing up the difference between AI and A1. But that was kind of big news yesterday here.
That's what happens when you fake your degree.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, you're in education and you don't know what AI is. I'm scared. You know what? It makes even more sense that whoever appoints you doesn't know what they're talking about. So on that other note, Pac got hurt this past week. Pac was taking on Swerve Strickland on AEW Dynamite in Baltimore, and Strickland he hit a buckle bomb on Pac in the corner, and immediately after taking the bump, Pac clenched his ankle. And it's funny, the match ended about 3 seconds later. Well, really not that quick, but it ended. There was a Swerve stomp and it was over. I don't. Did you guys catch that on Dynamite?
Yeah, you could see that something wasn't right.
Yeah, when it ended like real quick, as soon as that happened, you could see he like really like gripped for his ankle, but they're not really sure what happened. Or I mean, there's nothing official what happened, but he definitely we got the Sturf swamp stomp, and then it was over. You could see he said something to the referee, and I think okay, they called the match like immediately. So that's not good news because Pac man, it seems like every time he gets going, something stops him. I hope this is not another bump in the road for him, but I guess we'll find out more. You know what happened, but they haven't said anything official about an injury yet. But it definitely you could tell he was injured on Wednesday's Dynamite.
I
Um,
wonder if that means that he's just gonna like he will help Claudio and Yuta drop the trios titles to the ops and not actually like tag in or something. If that were the case, then maybe they don't want to like say anything about him being injured.
yeah, yeah, it
But
probably has
I
something
don't
to
know.
do with it. Yeah, they're probably
Yeah.
keeping that under tight lock and key. So, yeah, bummer, man. I just hate seeing that guy get hurt because he's so good, and it's what it seems to derail his career every time he gets going. You know, so
The injuries and stuff are out of control right now. This is another one of those periods where like everybody seems to be getting hurt in wrestling.
yeah, yeah. I saw that even Drew McIntyre had an issue last night with scalp, a scalp cut tearing open during his fight with Damian Priest he had, and he says it's something that keeps happening all the time because it's like it doesn't have time to heal, which is pretty gross. Congratulations are in order for a happy TNA wrestling couple. Former TNA Digital Media champions Steph Delander and Mace Warner have gotten engaged to be married. So now that kissing wasn't fake, I guess. Okay. The news was made official Wednesday afternoon. Congratulations to both of them. It's interesting because both of them came from GCW too, right? Or they're both they were, I know they were there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of where they ended up together and stuff, worked together a lot there while Mance was GCW champion and before Steph had gotten hurt. So
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Congratulations to both of
Steph's
them.
got a book coming out too, which is intriguing to me, especially so early in her career, but seems like it should be pretty interesting. So
I definitely, especially when just the path in the last couple of years of her career. It's been pretty cool. So, I don't know if you watched NXT this past week, but in the opening NXT match, Jordan Grace faced off against Jada Parker. During the match, Grace attempted a suicide dive, and guess what happened? Got caught in the ropes and fell in front of Parker. It's like the third time we've seen that in the last couple of weeks. Despite the mishap, Grace later showed a good sense of humor about the incident on social media. So I definitely saw that because it's like, oh no, it's AJ Francis, no, or it's Jey Uso. It was the same thing too. It's like the feet caught right the rope and dropped. They dropped far. Maybe the person was too far away from the side of the ring. I don't know, or from the outside of the ring.
Maybe
But
everyone doesn't need to do suicide dives.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because Jordan Grace has to like get a running start to get through, to propel herself through those, and it's like, man, it's just embarrassing when your feet get caught. But the worst thing is people get hurt from that too, falling straight down, after your feet get caught. So bummer for that. TNA issued the press release on Thursday to promote a fundraising event for Chris Bay. They announced that its Unbreakable Live event Thursday, April 17th from the Cox Pavilion in Las Vegas will feature a full day of events to spotlight Chris Bay, who suffered a broken neck last October 27th during a match in Detroit. Festivities to celebrate, honor, and fundraiser for Chris Bay, fittingly called Chris Bay All Day, will kick off April 17th with the first ever breakfast Q&A with the Hardys at Cox Pavilion in Las Vegas, a special 2-hour event starting at 10 a.m. local time. TNA announcer Tom Hannafin will host the intimate gathering with a limited number of fans, many of whom will have the opportunity to ask questions of the reigning TNA World Tag Team Champions, Jeff and Matt Hardy. The breakfast Q&A with the Hardys will stream live on TNA Plus, and Chris Bay will make an appearance at the breakfast with Q&A with Hardy. So hopefully I'm not sure how well Chris Bay is doing from that, though. I did see a post from him on social media a couple weeks ago. So hopefully he still needs, I mean, obviously you break your neck in a match, it's pretty serious. So, check it out if you are a fan of TNA and you have TNA Plus. Adam Cole, fresh off the TNT championship win at AEW Dynasty 2025, appeared backstage on Dynamite with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. In the promo, he announced a new name, a new era for AEW, and revealed that the group is dropping the Undisputed Kingdom name, we already talked about this already, going to be known as the Paragon. Yes, they will be the Paragon now. A friend of mine's band in high school was called Paragon. So I hope he didn't, I don't know if he's copyrighted it or not, but Triller issued a release on Thursday to promote WrestleMania week. And man, it's just way too much they have a lot of things going on Triller TV pay-per-view. You got Stardom. It's called Stardom, the American Dream, TNA Unbreakable. What is this? Spark Joshi, Lady Luck, Arms. What's that? Oops. Spark Joshi, Lady Luck, Arms. Joshi. Okay. Bicep Bash 2025. You got Josh Barnett's Blood Sports, Joey Janela's Spring Break 9, Joey Janela's Spring Break Cluster Something Forever. GCW presents the ID tournament. That's right, the WWE ID tournament, I believe that is.
Yep.
Yeah, and this, like I said, there's Stardom show there. We've got there's just some Effie's Big Gay Brunch 10. There's just so much going on there. If you go to Triller TV, they have like a whole list of all the stuff going on, and I'm guessing, like I said, Robbie, your housemate's probably not going to get any sleep going this weekend. Probably not.
No, and the fact is, I think he flew to. I don't even know. I literally don't even know. I think he flew to Seattle today because they got to Defy tomorrow. So it's like, if there wasn't enough wrestling for all these days in Vegas, there's still stuff on like the days leading into it too. So.
Yeah, and then of course with WWE's event, they've got the roast with Tony Hinchcliffe going on. They have the Hall of Fame. They have NXT show. What did you say? 10 in the morning. Oh my goodness. They have as well as WrestleMania nights 1 and 2. They've got SmackDown. They've got Monday Night Raw. It's an overdose of wrestling, and that's why we aren't going to go too long. But I will have last piece of news before we get out of here. Peacock has listed the WrestleMania 41 broadcast at starting at 4 p.m., indicating that a 3-hour pre-show each night before the main event. Oh my God. They're getting their money's
worth. That's what I will not be watching.
Yeah, they're getting their money's worth out of their talent there. Holy cow, 4 o'clock. That would be 1 o'clock there. Or is it 4 o'clock? Maybe it's 4 o'clock. No, it's 1 o'clock. The 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
they'll start at 4 o'clock their time is when WrestleMania will start. So they'll go, but that means they got to be there at 1 for this. That's too long a pre-show, especially since you're not having matches or anything. It's literally just going to be talking heads the whole time. That's awful.
Doesn't that cross over with the NXT show too?
It'll be close.
I was going to say,
they'll probably right as that ends, they'll be going.
That's nuts. So on that note, we are done for the week. I want to thank everybody who came in and check us out and we will have super extravaganza Pain Clinic WrestleMania preview and whatnot next week. And I cannot wait to be done with WrestleMania. I just wish I was inspired. I was super excited about it. There's things about it I can't wait to see, but I don't know. I'm under enthused by the main event on Sunday night. I mean, as much as I like those guys, I don't think the buildup has been lukewarm, if anything. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is doing his part, that's for sure. John Cena just, he's a busy.
Is Cena going to do any kind of in-ring training before he has a WrestleMania main event match?
Good question.
That's his first match in forever. Yeah.
He must have in the Elimination Chamber. That's what I was thinking. He must have worked. I know that someone said they were working with him. I can't remember who it was. Somebody in NXT has been working with him. I can't. So hopefully, yeah, let's hope. Let's hope it's not a disappointment. But then again, we have no idea. So there's so many question marks going into next week. What's The Rock doing? Who is Randy Orton taking on? So we'll be answering those next week on the show. I want to thank everybody who's in the chat room. I want to thank Danger. Thank you, Rob, and DC. Wherever you're on vacay, have a great time. DC won't be back until after WrestleMania. So on that note, we're going to get out of here. Check out all our shows on thepainclinic.net. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.